Backpacking gear I have zero desire in ever purchasing. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Just going to jump straight into this one. So there's a lot of gear I see in the backpacking world, in the community, all over all the backpacking YouTube channels that I just have no desire in owning or purchasing. I just got a bone to pick with a couple of them. The reasons why I don't use a lot of these items that all these other backpackers are using, we're just gonna stir the pot. We're going straight for the heart on this one. We're just gonna rustle some feathers and we're gonna just people off tonight. My last video on backpacking trends kind of inspired this one. There's so many things that people say and everybody gets the same thing, and that's like the only, like the go-to. Like there's one specific product in every category, I feel like, that you feel like you're obligated to get that. If you don't have that, you are inferior. You're an inferior backpacker, and that's totally not the right way to look about things. So these are super popular items that I see all over the place that I am not going to succumb to. Now, first off, nothing against these companies. They are great products, not gonna lie. This is just a video talking about my perspective on it. You know, maybe you guys can learn a little bit something from this video. I kind of highly doubt it. If you're just interested in my backpacking theory, maybe take away some of my thoughts as far as budgeting goes with backpacking, perspective on a more budget-minded backpacker, as well as just purely entertainment. This one's just for you guys. A lot of these are clothes, by the way, or wearables. So number one on the list, Ultra Lone Peaks. The Ultra Lone Peak hiking shoe, or Ultras in general. And I just gotta say, I'm sorry, it's Ultra. Just because it's an A doesn't mean it's Ultra. It's pronounced Ultra. I could be wrong, but I'm not. So nothing against any of these companies. Like I said before, these are good companies. Does Ultra make good shoes? Yes. I've seen them. I've seen people that have done great things in them. I have to go wake up my dog because it's snoring right now. Pug? Hey, you gotta wake up, dude. Ultras are tried and true. Ultra runners run in them. Through a lot of thru hikers, a lot of people use these. I'd like to say that of the people that I personally have went backpacking with, I don't know, like 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 are wearing Ultra Lone Peak specifically, or maybe some other kind of Ultra shoe. So my perspective on this is I go through a lot of shoes. I have to rotate them out so much because I put so many miles on them running. You know, that's not trail related, but just a shoe standpoint, I run with a super high heel drop, like a 12 millimeter drop. I'm a heel to toe striker, so I strike on my heel and roll down forward, which I've done tons of research in the past on proper running and the barefoot running style. You know, they say you're supposed to land on more of a midfoot and roll through, because the theory is when you're heel striking, you're actually stopping your momentum before you're rolling through. I researched that years and years ago, and I tried switching my style. I ended up stress fracturing my foot. After talking to doctors and whatnot, they said if you don't injure, don't change the way you run. And I had never been injured to that point. So I like the heel drop. I like having extra padding on my heel. I mean, especially doing hiking or like ultra marathoning, like having more where you're striking on your foot is definitely a good idea. I think that most people that use these Ultra shoes, by the way, I don't think I mentioned, if you're not aware, Ultra's thing is like zero drop shoe. Like from the heel to toe, it's 0 millimeters of drop. The 12 millimeters drop that I use, it's kind of elevates you in the back a little bit, which is good for short people like me. Like jumping into Lone Peaks or Ultras, you will probably feel it in your calves. I'm not saying nobody, like you can't get used to it. You absolutely will. But they're just a little bit of a learning curve, I think. It's just not appealing to me because I don't want to hike in a shoe that is unfamiliar to me. So I'm always on trails, I'm always on the road. I do a lot of miles per week, and I don't want to switch to a zero drop shoe just because I'm hiking. One other thing about Ultra that I don't like, and I'll say it's the only thing about like the construction of the shoe that I don't like. Now here we go again with critiquing gear I've never used. People just love that. They love when you do a pros and cons video or a review video on a piece of gear you've never used. I mean, people just go nuts for that. But I have seen firsthand in many, many videos, the Ultras, the toe cap, I have an example here, the toe cap always peels off. And I'm talking like within 20 miles, this toe cap, the glue peels off. Now these are my Brooks Cascadia. You can see they have holes in them right here. I've used these things for hundreds and hundreds of miles. I still use them here and there for things, but I kind of retired them. But I don't know, that toe cap, it's glued on there pretty good. The Ultras, I will say what looks cool about them is, well, I can't say it looks cool because I think it looks terrible. The toe box on them, it's really goofy looking. It's really rounded, and I like the idea of it though, especially being someone that has super wide feet. I cannot personally wear Nikes. I can't wear Asics. I've never put on a pair of those that were not like just constricting on my feet. And right now I have switched to the Hoka Torrents. So I have the Speed Goats also by Hoka that I run in. I don't recommend them for hiking for me personally because they have so much padding. And these ones actually feel, even though they look like they have like a huge sole, they don't feel like even as cushiony as a lot of other shoes. Now these are actually not a 12 millimeter drop. These are actually more of like a 5 or a 6. So a little bit closer to that zero drop range for my liking, but I just wanted to try them, and they're doing good so far. All right, that one was really long, so I'm gonna try to buzz through these next ones quick, like a couple sentences on each. Here we go. Number 2, the Z-Packs tent. Any Z-Packs tent. There's so many tents on the market. There's so many like ways to go. I'm the kind of person that, you know, if something is the most popular thing on the market, it makes me not want to get it. I don't know what it is. It's just in my blood. I'm always rooting for the underdog. It's just something about me that doesn't want what everybody else has. Sometimes I do. But with the Z-Packs tents, things I don't like. The bathtub floor, which a lot of tents have bathtub floors, but these are like rounded. You know, I like a nice straight lines, you know, 90-degree corners in my tent. I like it to be laid out flat and have that. The Z-Packs, it like pulls up on the sides and you're like swimming in a sea of like Dyneema. And once again, rip me in the comments. You don't know what you're talking about. You've never tried it before, but I just don't like the look of it. So it is what it is. I'll probably never go down that route. Plus, the colors, I'm really not a fan of the blue and the green Dyneema. I never have been. And the camo, I'm not a camo guy. Bryce, you have a purple tent.
So this tent, this is made out of a 30D ripstop.
I love my purple tent. Number 3, the titanium long-handled Spork. You know, I know a lot of people that backpack through YouTube. I'm the only one I think I know of that does not use this titanium long-handled Spork. I just use cheap. Well, they're cheap because they're free. You get plastic forks anywhere, plastic sporks. I like the idea of not having to worry about another expensive piece of gear. That's why, it's pretty much the primary reason I bring them. I like not having to worry about where I sit it if I lose it. So I don't want to spend like 15, 20, how much are those? $8, $12 for a long handle? You mean to tell me I've been using a KFC Spork for 4 years when I could have spent $12 and got a titanium one? I honestly like shorter Sporks. Yeah, you got to get your hand down in the bag a little bit, but it fits in my tiny little Ziploc ditty bag better. I don't want a big long metal Spork. I don't know where I would keep that in my backpacking kit. If somebody gave me one, would I use it? Absolutely. As pretty much all this gear I'm talking about, if I had it, I would use it. But it's just the fact of me going out and buying it. Number 4, expensive quilts. Man, quilts are awesome. I was on UGQ's website the other day. The customizations that you can do to these things, and this might be a complete contradiction because I kind of want to buy one of those right now. But the expensive quilts, there's so much money, and the weight savings that you get is not really worth it to me. I feel like, I think if you're really spending as much money as you can to get your stuff as light as you can, it might be worth it. With my quilts, they're the Hammock Gear Econ version, so they're the cheaper version. They have the expensive version, but that's not the route I want to go. So what it was is, I think I paid maybe $220 somewhere around there for this, and then the expensive version was like $320. It was like $100 more for, I think, around 4 ounces lighter, which that might not be even that much money per ounce. It's like $25 an ounce to lose for the ultralight world, you know. But for me, spending an extra $100, it just wasn't worth it to gain 4 ounces. Like, I was already dropping like 3 pounds off the sleeping bag I was using at the time, and this thing weighs like, I don't know, like 16 to 18 ounces maybe. I really don't know. I don't know any other brands that have quilts that compare to their price for value, but they're worth the money. They're great. Another reason why I don't have any urge to buy expensive ones is I take good care of my quilts. I always hang them up after trips. There's no reason for them ever to like rip or anything, so they're just holding up. I'll probably have them for a very, very long time. So be sure to call me out my UGQ Bandit review video. Number 5. This is a good one. All right. Down pants in Booties. I love Booties, but down pants to me is a completely useless piece of gear. I mean, we have all seen videos where people are talking about the pros and the cons of the down pants. The down pants were clutch, and let me tell you, not too expensive. Yeah, just do yourself a favor and just go buy some down pants. They are useful. I'm not gonna say that, you know, somebody wearing some down pants isn't gonna be more comfortable than me at camp. Personally, I just don't care. I can hike in a t-shirt and shorts in 0-degree weather, and as long as I have like a negative 10-degree bag, I'm gonna be fine. Like, I'm not gonna die out there. I mean, I don't know what it is. I think it's more of the minimalist mindset that if I don't really need something, I'm not gonna bring it. I've been known to not bring like leg coverings on certain trips. Like, even when I went out to Oregon last year, the first night was the only night my legs got a little bit cold, so I just draped my like raincoat over my legs or whatever. You know, if I got a little bit colder, I could have used my sleeping bag and pulled it over my lower body, which is what I did in Colorado. So it's like I always have warmth available. Granted, it's not the most comfortable. You know, if you're planning on walking around a bunch, you're not going to be like hopping around in a sleeping bag. But for me personally, I just have no interest in the down pants. You do you. If you want to be comfortable at camp and everything, that's totally fine. But it's definitely a camp thing. I don't see the possibility of ever hiking in down pants. I think you would sweat like crazy, and I just don't think it's plausible. As for dat booty, I feel like if I bought like nice down booties, I wouldn't want to walk around in them, period. A lot of times at camps, I just like to have fire. I like warming my feet by the fire. If I don't have a fire, my feet are just kind of numb until I go to bed, and that's totally fine with me. And personally, there's no way I could sleep in down booties. I know my feet would just sweat so bad. They're never cold in any of the quilts that I bring. I have sewn foot boxes in my quilts, and they're just not cold. And I know if I added an extra layer down in there, it would probably sweat, and then it would just like soak the down, so it'd be kind of worthless. Number 6. This is a real popular one. Popped out of the scene out of nowhere a couple years ago. I didn't even know what it was until listening to the shills talk about it on the flight out to Colorado. The Melanzana Microgrid Hoodie. So the Melly, it's popular because it's so rare. Is it special in any way? It's got some cool features. The like kangaroo style pocket in the front is awesome. It's huge. It's got this turtleneck thing that goes up over your face. They're cool in a way because they're popular. They're super rare, which is why I think all the hype is really there. But I really just have no urge in trying to find one or buy one. Now, if I'm in Leadville, Colorado, at Melanzana, they have an awesome color, I'm gonna buy it. Okay, but that's just the part of me that like wants to follow these trends, wants like the coolest backpacking gear. I do think they're kind of cool. I like the look of them now, despite thinking that they were the ugliest freaking thing ever made. First time I saw it, the drawstring on the side is just really goofy, and I still don't know if I like that. It's a goofy looking hoodie. If you don't know like its application, then I don't think people would understand why you're wearing it. But for backpacking standpoint, I don't know. I'd probably buy another one. I say another one because when I was in Colorado and everybody's buying up all these Mellies, I bought one for my wife. And that's because they didn't even have my size. So this actually wouldn't even be in this video had they had a medium. Number 7, and the final item I'm going to talk about, which I'm sure there's a bunch. I mean, there's a ton of stuff I feel like I could buy that I just don't. Most of it is just because I just use what I have. The only time I really miss things, or I wish I had something different, is when I'm out there. When I'm at home, it's like out of sight, out of mind. I know a lot of people like plan stuff like to the T. They like to get their gear like completely to the perfect state to where they can, you know, they have everything that they've ever wanted. I'm not really like that. I do like to play around and switch out things on my kit and try to get things lighter, but it's more of a budget minimalist viewpoint. But the last one is the Outdoor Research Helium 2 rain jacket. So I see this jacket everywhere. It's nice. I mean, it looks good. It seems to work okay. I've seen lots of instances of it wetting out pretty soon, pretty early in people's hikes on rainy days, which is very typical of a lot of rain jackets. The Helium 2 is just really, really expensive, and I think it's because it's such a lightweight rain jacket. It's one of the lighter ones. But with lightweight rain gear becomes, you know, not as good rain gear in my opinion. Yeah, it's light. It's going to save you some heartache, especially if you don't need it and it doesn't rain on that trip. But I'm not going to go into it too in depth because I have another video I made on rain gear where I talk about gear wetting out. But the thinner and lighter something is, the less waterproof it really is. It will soak through eventually. In which case, I just use cheap raincoats. So if I really am not worried about getting wet, if it's warmer, if there's a very, very low chance of rain, I will use like a $20 or $30 like Columbia rain jacket that weighs literally just as much as the Outdoor Research Helium 2. I mean, that's like saving like over $100 for a rain jacket that's probably just as good. Most of the time, I honestly bring a Mountain Hardwear full-on like double layer rain jacket that has never let me down. I think it's wetted through a few times, but I honestly feel like it might have just been like condensation from me sweating. So, but it works really, really good. And if you're really looking to go in some water, like when I went to the Pacific Northwest, like you don't go to the Pacific Northwest without a legit raincoat. So I packed my like 1 pound raincoat for that trip, and it served me. I hiked all day in the rain and I did not get wet at all. Who is this? Hello? Yes, it is. Sometime after 4. Same time, after 4 works. Gotcha. All right, I gotcha. Yep. All right, thank you. Bye-bye. I don't know what I was talking about. So that's going to be it for the video. Just a fun one tonight. Just my opinions on being a cheap minimalist backpacker. Take what you can from it, which may be nothing, but hopefully you enjoyed the video, had a couple laughs. Got a really cool trip coming up here in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from now. A couple big YouTube stars going to be in this one, so doing another backpacking trip, 2 nights, 3 days, and it should be a good one. So stay tuned for that. Hit that subscribe button below so I can let you know when I upload that video. Hit the notification bell beside it so I can notify you of that. Thanks, Bug. And that'll do it for the video. So thank you guys so much for watching again, and I'll see you in the next one.